It's Lost in Plot, and we're here with Dexter, New Blood, Episode 7.
This one's called Skin of Her Teeth, something like that. It's another stupid title, but this one is because in the episode, we discover an old corpse that's related to someone or other, and we do a whole kind of forensic analysis, and wouldn't you know it, we find some DNA in the teeth that's over 20 years old, but we're still going to test it, and we're still going to track down that lead.
That's right. 20-year-old DNA is going to be a pivotal clue to leading us on the trail of our runaway killer.
That's right. And how did you like this episode?
You know, this episode for me, what I liked about it is that the plot threads are so disjointed by now, and they've wrecked them so thoroughly that they've actually instilled an air of unpredictability. I cannot really figure out what they're doing at all.
Interesting.
The number of these plot lines.
Because I have some predictions that I'm going to get into first. But before I get into those, I have to say I'm feeling a bit like Vincent Vega here. I'm the race car, and they've got me into the red. They've got me into that red, and it's not good. What seems to have really happened lately with these episodes is we're kind of... Does it feel like to you we're pivoting focus to a lot more to Angela and Molly?
Yes, it does. I mean...
And it's really boring me. Like, at first I thought Molly, the podcaster, would be a great kind of character to put as a foil for Dexter.
Yeah, to mix things up.
Yeah. But the way she's been done and executed has been incredibly dull. And
inconsistent.
Plain, just
she goes
dull.
from being damsel in distress to being kind of the inquisitive provocateur and trying to get more information and stir people up and put people in uncomfortable positions, and now they've retracted that. That's my whole thing, is they had such careful setup to begin. I feel like the kid who somebody came by and smashed their Lincoln Log tower, and now all the pieces are down there, and it's just like, well, what are you going to do with it?
And it's really her friendship with Angela that's just not very interesting. Now, if they had an adversarial relationship, if we had conflict there instead of them just being buddy-buddy the whole time, you'd probably get more out of that relationship and be something interesting.
And it's an odd buddy-buddy. You don't understand why they actually like each other.
It's not good.
It would be easy to see why they would be at odds because she's so annoying, the podcaster, but for whatever reason they're
And it feels like
on
it's
the same
overshadowing Dexter at this point and his relationships and his goals, which is not a good thing. Now, the other thing I'll say about this episode, because as I was thinking about it, I started to write my own endings, kind of. Like, I don't like what they're doing, and it's kind of a testament to it. It's like, now I'm starting to think on my own. It's like, well, I see what you're doing. I don't really care for it. What if they did this, that, and the other thing? And I spend more time thinking about that than what they actually put in the episode, because it's pretty dull and there's not that much there. So that's a big indictment.
You think you know where everything's going. And
I do.
Other than having our protagonist and antagonist aware of each other entirely and in a versus kind of posturing, an antagonistic bent, I don't know where they're going to take it from there, other than these two guys are basically going to go after each other in some way, shape, or form.
Well, here's where I'm getting pissed off. And either my predictions here are going to be true, or I'm going to be pissed off because they showed us a lot of information that was worthless during the season, okay? My predictions, and it's not a spoiler, this is just kind of predictions, but I kind of thought in an early episode that the runaway killer and someone else knew each other before they met on screen. And he gives somebody the gift of a drone. Do you remember that?
I do.
An odd gift to give somebody a drone living out in the woods like that. And it's never come back or paid off or anything.
It was barely referenced to begin with.
But why would he show up and give that person a drone? So one character gives another one a drone. Now, when you give me that piece of information, I'm expecting something to happen with that drone. It's like Chekhov's gun, right? If you introduce something in the first act, by the end of the third, that thing's got to go off. The other thing that I'll just say is some of the characters. Do you remember the very wealthy man who, in that first episode, came in on his chopper and had his mansion, and Angela actually went to his mansion
Featured
once?
Prominently.
Where has he gone?
Yeah.
He's
We haven't
dropped
seen him
off
for
the
episodes.
face of the
For
earth.
episodes we haven't seen
And
this
I
character.
think my prediction is that our killer is absolutely not operating alone here. And I think what he uses is, for lack of a better term, kites. So he's got kind of helpers to get his victims, and I think they're kind of part of his business. And I think some of the characters that we've met or that we know are secretly already part of that and are helping him through it. So I think there's more to him, and I think that's going to be the twist that we get in these final 3 episodes. That's my prediction.
So we're chasing...
If we don't get that twist, then why have you given me all the information that I just mentioned? Because it's totally worthless, and it tells me you didn't know what the hell you were doing, and you're trying to find your own ass with these last episodes.
It's an elaborate red herring. That's all.
You can't do that, can you? You can't show me all that information on those characters, and then they never come back or do anything else?
No, I think you're right. I don't think that you can. And they've let us completely forget about this character for episodes, so maybe that's the strategy. It's like, well, it just won't be in these 5 or 6 middle episodes where he hasn't even featured. But what you're left with is kind of a head-scratcher like, oh yeah, that guy. Well, why? Just because it's a different guy? Like, that's not going to be satisfying.
3 episodes
say anything.
And a lot of work to do. But I think because if there's not more to the story, if there's not a twist coming, we already know everything.
Right. And we have for a couple episodes.
We already know everything. So I'm expecting them to swerve us, and I think some of that information that they just gave us in those early episodes that you forgot about, that I think a lot of people have forgotten about, may come back into it, and my theory might be proven true.
And I'll tell you this, there's a deep personal relationship between Dexter and someone from Dexter's past that is a pivotal plotline that has been a thread throughout the entire series, and I could not care less what happens with it. I don't care. There's no stakes for me. I don't buy that there's stakes for Dexter in this at all. There should be, but it to me has been a total and utter flop.
And I don't care about Angela and Molly, and they get quite a lot of time trying to make you care about the cold case that Angela's been working on.
Yeah, I don't care about the cold case.
I don't care at all. I just don't care at all. So to me, you're focused in on the wrong characters here. And maybe we get that twist, and I don't even know if that's going to be enough to save it, but let's wrap this one up for episode 7, because we got 3 left. What's your number for this one?
You know, it's a 5 out of 10. Like I said, I mean, I checked out after the last episode, so this one was better than the last one, but at the same time,
it was written better.
There's no momentum at all. It feels very disjointed. It feels like they're picking up the pieces and they're grasping for threads to try and bring it home when they should have far more momentum than they do.
Yeah, it's definitely dead for me too. I'm going to keep it at a 5 out of 10 as well. The writing is okay here, but it's the point that I just made. I feel like you never want the audience to get out ahead of you as a writer. And you said you don't know where they're going just because everything's sloppy and messy.
Exactly.
I think they're just going for the lowest hanging fruit. Unless my theory proves true. So that I feel like I'm ahead of them. I'm writing my own endings, which means you've lost me. Like, I'm doing it myself at this point. So hopefully we get a nice, compelling, intriguing surprise in the next episode that maybe brings...
And now I'm more interested to see if you accurately predict the ending of the show than actually seeing the ending of the show on its own account.
Because maybe my theory is more interesting. We'll find out.
Maybe it is. Guys, that's our thoughts on Dexter New Blood, Episode 7. If you've seen the show, leave your comments down below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all on the next one.